All right. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Welcome again, our weekly discussion of Risale Nur, and we're going to continue where we left off. And I was not here, unfortunately, last week, but I think, like Jasmine told me, that you guys finished the first truth, and we're going to continue, inshallah, from the second truth. And that's just an additional, of course, this chapter that we have been like kind of following, and we have started from the 10th word and went through like every single indications and the third point and the fourth point, and then we started the truths. And now, inshallah, we're going to continue from the second truth. All right, let's read the second truth, and inshallah, we're gonna make a break and probably just maybe in 2 or 3 pages. Then we're gonna go back to our panelists, inshallah. And this week, and we have again joining us from England, Colin Turner, Colin Najam, and then joining us from North Dakota, Harun Prem, Harun Najam, and then we have again Hikmat Najam from Arizona joining us as the third panelist, inshallah. All right, let's begin. inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. The second truth. We're continuing reading from 10th word, inshallah, from Risale Nur, the words, and from Kul Najam's translation. The gate of generosity and mercy. The manifestation of the names generous Al-Karim and merciful Al-Rahim. In his works, the Lord of this world demonstrates infinite generosity and mercy, infinite splendor and glory. Is it possible that he would not give rewards in a manner which befits his generosity and mercy? Is it possible that he would not punish wrongdoers in a manner which befits his splendor and glory? If you look at the world and how things work here, you will see that all beings, from the very weakest to the most merciful, are given the kind of sustenance that suits them. Indeed, the weakest and most needy are often given the very best kind of sustenance. There is a deep note. All illicit nourishment, Nursi says, is obtained not through shows of strength, but through demonstrations of need and impotence. Proof of this, he says, is that powerless infants enjoy the very finest of foods, their mother's milk, while wild beasts have to exert much energy and cunning in order to find their food. Fish who lack intelligence, he says, grow fat very easily, while the cunning fox and wily monkey are thin from having to constantly run about in search of food. There is therefore an inverse relationship between strength and willpower on the one hand and sustenance on the other. The more one relies on strength and willpower, Nursi says, the more difficult it will be to seek and sustain one's livelihood. Now he continues, moreover, there are cures to be found in the most unlikely of places for very ailment and disease. This bounty and liberality is given with such sublime generousness that it is clear that behind the scenes, the hand of infinite generosity is at work. Take the spring, for example. Each year, as spring approaches, the trees are dressed in clothes as fine as silk, just like the intimate companions of paradise. They are bejeweled with flowers and fruits, and they are made to stretch out their branches as though they were the hands of servants, offering us numerous kinds of the most delicate and delicious fruits. Similarly, we are given sweet, wholesome honey to eat from the hand of the bee, despite its sting. We are clothed in the finest, softest of materials spun by an insect that has no hands. And within tiny seeds, great treasuries of mercy are preserved for us. It is obvious that all of this is the effect of a most bountiful generosity a most elevated sense of mercy. With the exception of human beings and certain wild animals, all things from the sun, the moon, and the earth to the smallest of creatures perform their duties with the utmost precision, not overstepping the mark by even an inch, observing a kind of universal obedience in a spirit of awe and humility. This shows that they are all acting on orders, responding to the command of one who possesses great glory and dignity. If you look at the way in which all mothers, be they from the animal, vegetable, or human realms, feed and take care of their weak and powerless infants with the most delicate forms of nourishment, such as milk, it will become clear that their tender compassion is a reflection, a manifestation of God's all-embracing mercy. The fact says, Nursey, that lions prefer the needs of their cubs to their own needs, feeding them before they feed themselves, shows that they are acting in accordance with the commands of one who is infinitely merciful, generous, and kind. He also points out that the usually cowardly chicken will actually attack a lion in order to defend its young, while the fig tree, he says, is content with mud, saving the precious sap to give to its offspring, the fruit. The fact that even unconscious plants and beasts function in the wisest and apparently most conscious of manners demonstrates beyond all doubt that there is one who is utterly knowing and all wise who has set them to work and that they are simply acting in his name. And I think it's a perfect time to take a break. And let's just go back to the top and now analyze this a little bit and with the help of our panelists. And I would like to get to know like maybe just a little more insight what they are thinking about, especially so far what we have read in the Second Truth. And plus, of course, I mean, if they can bring us maybe more examples that would help us to understand in a better kind of just way and look maybe just different angles. And now this week I would like to go first by with like a Harnajam. So because he's been absent for a long time. Harnajam, welcome back again. And what do you think
Okay.
about Second Truth?
Assalamu alaikum. Is
Alaikum
this a
salam.
punishment or gift? I don't know, since I was any
Take it as a punishment.
okay,
Well,
actually, yes, you're so having mercy. So yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. No problem. And
Yeah,
thank you for being with us. Yeah.
it was amazing actually. I tried
Mhm.
to read from the beginning
Mhm.
um, to that point, and I was fascinated. Like, how could
Mhm.
you come to that point? From the beginning. I don't
Right.
know if you skipped some parts anyway.
Mhm.
But for me to engage, I think I need to summarize myself. So what's going on? Uh,
Clearly.
it's always difficult for me to comprehend 10th words compared to
Mhm.
other um,
Absolutely.
treatises, I
Absolutely.
can tell. And I have I mean, I think part of the reason is that, it is mentioned by Ustad Nursi that this 10th word is kind of reflection of Ismi Azam.
Mhm.
So because resurrection hereafter is reflection of Isma Azam or several
Mhm. Mhm.
Isma Azams, so that gives profound actually complexity in a way.
Mhm.
But of course, his way of making things simple to understand, it is so profound. With
Mhm.
that, still, I have difficulties, but as all Risaleiner students confess, I confess that each time I read, a
Mhm.
a
Mhm.
different thing
Yeah,
opens.
yeah.
So that's another blessing. Actually, I'm always fascinated, like how he tackles this problem, like how,
Mhm.
our modern mindsets actually just thinks how to prove.
Mhm.
So it's kind of we are overemphasizing our intellectual merits, to
Mhm.
prove something. So and we know that everything, Quran is Hakim, Allah is Hakim, so everything is also to our intellect. So from that perspective, looks like he's first making sure that we can
Mhm.
read our environments thoroughly, or we can really say that this world, the very the very space I'm just hooked on
Mhm.
exists. The first argument I think comes that I need to confess that this world
Mhm.
exists.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for that, he's helping us with this metaphor analogy.
Mhm.
And this analogy is not between two people,
Mhm.
because he mentions, be careful, it's your soul or
Mhm.
your heart, different pairs. There are
Mhm.
different hermeneutics over there.
Mhm.
Uh, so it's kind of our inner self, our society, and believer, non-believer in a way. So
Mhm.
representation is so good.
Mhm.
With that, yeah, first they're discussing like what do you see around? How do you read it? Because that's where we need to start. If we don't, we are not on the same page, reading this book of world, book of our lives, then it is useless to talk about, hereafter, because
Mhm.
we are not on consensus in the most obvious one. So that's where he starts, and I find this really fascinating. And it gives us an instruction how to read what's going on around us. Uh,
Mhm. Mhm.
to read that, there are things like looking things as a whole, looking things as, um, kind of holding, many names of the creator. We can say the concepts like generosity here we will be talking about, um, compassion, justice. And the way he reads justice, that's amazing because I'm sure modern societies, if you ask if there's a justice in this world, and they will
Mhm.
say no, there's no justice at all.
Mhm.
But he makes justice in a deeper sense. He reads justice in a deeper sense with this
Mhm.
discussion. So kind of through the first part with this analogy, he brings our minds and hearts to the state that we are on the same page.
Mhm.
If we're okay, this world. The first thing is the situation of this world. It's a trial place. It's a kind of showcase place, and it's
Mhm.
a training place. So this we should be on the same page. The other thing is we should see that they definitely we see there is reality of justice, reality of wisdom, reality of mercy, and so forth.
Mhm. Mhm.
Once we're on this page, then yeah, I think he jumps into the realities, which is kind of deeper. It's coming,
Mhm.
and if with that, we are going to say that okay, with that reading, so what is behind? I mean, if there is sustenance, so how come this sustenance happens? Let's get to know the sustainer. So
Mhm.
yeah, I guess this was the first reality, first part. The
Mhm.
second one that we are going to talk about today, yeah, it will be kind of generosity. We are going to talk about this. And since I talked too much, that was for me to engage. I think it's time for me
Mhm.
to just step down. Thank you.
All right. No, no, thank you so much, Anuj. I mean, really appreciate it. Just a great kind of prelude. The way that you gave like little and also like a summary as well. I really enjoyed it listening. And now maybe it's time for to invite Konuşan before it moves on. Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you
Walaikum
hear me?
salam.
Okay,
Yes, yes, sir. Yep.
excellent. There's so much going on in the 10th word,
Mm-hmm.
actually. And we know that it's in two parts. We've discussed the
Mm-hmm.
differences in approach. The first 12 indications
Mm-hmm.
we said were inductive arguments, basically, in a sense, arguing from um, effect to cause, in a
Mm-hmm.
sense,
Yeah.
and allowing us to understand that there is a hereafter and there is an owner.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes a certain kind of intellection, a rational intellection.
Mm-hmm.
So our rational intellect has been stimulated in the first half. And
Mm-hmm.
we have arrived, ideally, at the conclusion that there is indeed an owner and that
Mm-hmm.
there is a hereafter. But
Mm-hmm.
just to actually then, I think, and I may be wrong in this estimation and this appraisal, I think what he's doing in the second half, it's the famous argument from God,
Mm-hmm.
which is based on the premise that you actually believe in the existence of the Creator. You've
Yeah.
established the existence of the Creator.
Yeah.
Then, to a certain extent, you can let go of your, ever wandering rational intellect, and you
Mm-hmm.
can try to tap into your intuitive intellect,
Mm-hmm.
which recognizes truths as soon as it sees them and doesn't really have to go down the route
Mm-hmm.
of empirical demonstration, logical proofs, all of these things. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying that there is not a logic in it, but the premise that you're starting off with is
Mm-hmm.
the fact that the creator that we've already, whose existence we've established, is generous and merciful.
Mm-hmm.
And now that they will be the premises whereby the hereafter is proven. So the proofs are no longer really rational in our understanding of the rational intellect. They are more intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
And he does this here with generosity and mercy. And, we can see later on how these things pan out. The generous and the mercy go together. I mean, all
Konuşacağım.
and mercy afterwards. Generosity, I mean, it's very easy to understand. If you plant one seed,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
if you plant a cherry seed, you get thousands of cherries, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I think we lost him.
He dropped, maybe?
Think so. Yeah. I think that's why he was checking with us. Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
hope
maybe
yeah.
Hikmetocam can chime
Yeah,
in.
Madajam can just yeah,
Okay,
join
until
in
Colin
there. Yeah.
until Colin comes.
Yeah.
Well, I
So
was gonna look at the different ways and perspective actually that both
mhm,
Harunabi and then Colin was also saying that the
mhm,
generosity and everything that the hereafter that one of the proof is that I just wanted to pick up from that. There's a lot of things that we can pick up from that
mhm,
second truth, but I just wanted to say, looking at look at the cosmos and everything, and it says that here, Ustad says, look at the sun, moon, every
mhm,
single creature from the atom to the whole sun. To think about it,
mhm,
all the whole cosmos is just clearly obeying and perfectly obeying what the
mhm,
God says, okay, what God is commanding, and they
mhm,
don't really um, slide away or just zigzagging from what are their duties. So
mhm,
I am just connecting the two to human being, basically that it, we have to. This is our job and duty, and as well as that what we need to do while we're here.
mhm,
That because since that everybody is obeying, that we need to obey. Otherwise, that hereafter there will
mhm,
be either
mhm,
like a reward, unlimited reward, or the punishment. This is obvious.
mhm,
That's what is telling us that since this is also showing us that how big the Allah is, and Azamati Kibriya is telling us every single item is just obeying whatever that duty that they are assigned and
mhm,
they wanted to do in this world, but
mhm,
hereafter as well. That's what's going to happen. That we need to look at them. Sun, it's huge thing,
mhm,
and the moon, it is still that huge thing. And
mhm,
then everybody, like in soil, Zerat or atom, like it's just a small piece of the soil, is just obeying whatever is just assigned perfectly. It's
mhm,
just not zigzagging. This is just telling us as well that we need to do or obey and whatever
mhm,
we are commanded and whatever we ask for, because this is number one is that telling us biggest what we are calling is the Allahu Akbar. The
mhm,
Azamati Kibriya is showing us, and then the other thing is that there will be hereafter some punishment or reward when you obey, when you do
mhm.
your job.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna tell more, but if Kolinab is just here, that he can
Uh,
continue.
he's back. Yeah. Oh, right.
Okay, go ahead,
Yeah.
Kolinab.
Yeah.
Sorry, I dropped.
Oh, no problem. Yes, sir. Go
But
ahead.
I was able to listen to Hikmat,
Oh, nice.
fortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that means I've got less to say because he's already covered a lot of it. But mercy and generosity are absolutely key to
Hmm.
understanding the hereafter, because
Hmm.
this is all tied in with our needs. And our
Hmm.
needs, our physical needs, we see, if you look at the world, it's very, very difficult
Hmm.
to deny that the creator of this universe is not generous.
Hmm.
As I said, one cherry stone, you plant it in the ground, you get thousands and thousands of cherries.
Yeah.
This is just absolutely unsolicited generosity, and it's showing us something. Also, the tree also demonstrates resurrection, of course.
Hmm.
That's another thing. The
Yeah.
second thing is generosity is quite clear. Mercy is needed by us, and again, this is coming to the third fact, the third feature or factor
Hmm.
in this particular truth, and that is causality and
Hmm.
our absolute impotence. And he goes on to show this in an extremely, how can I say, illuminating way by saying, look, the stronger you are, the more you have to run. If you're an
Hmm.
animal, the stronger you are, the more you have to run. It doesn't come to you easy.
Hmm.
A fox does not, meet its sustenance with any great facility. It's very difficult. It has to run and it's thin.
Hmm. Yeah.
So what he's saying is if you rely on your own strength, you will come undone. If you
Hmm.
rely on the strength of your creator or the power of your creator, that is the key, not just to physical sustenance, but also
Hmm.
to spiritual sustenance. And we need very, very much eternity. So,
Hmm.
sustenance for us, the ultimate sustenance, is eternity, and that can only be gained through the manifestation of mercy and generosity. And I think this is what he's pointing to here.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
better
Great.
stop because it
Yeah.
says I'm
Mhm.
unstable. Not me personally, although I probably am unstable, but my
No,
internet
yeah.
connection is definitely
Yeah.
unstable.
It's we get it. Yeah, no, no problem, sir. Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, great examples and great just angles and everything. I absolutely love like when just Hikmarujan pointed out the fact that just everything is like just doing what they're supposed to be doing and just some more examples and plus and then you gave us great angle like just when showing that just the generosity and everything, the mercy and that we can if we would like to see it so as you just pointed out like this is the intuition, right? So like this is that we need so intuitively so just by simply observing and looking around and if we need so yes right here so just we can rely on it. Anyone else would like to add a little more or something, Harmazan, Hikmatusam, before
I
we
think
move on?
intuition is a
Mhm.
key word. Actually,
Isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
it was long time I need to remember, but there are many good
Mhm.
scientific people, scholars, underlining the importance of intuition,
Mhm.
compared to even Einstein, has, quotes on intuition. So
Mhm.
it's kind of one of the most profound faculties of being human beings,
Mhm.
So intuition is
Absolutely,
very,
absolutely.
very
Mhm.
important to say.
Yeah. Mhm.
And also the connection Colin Hocam just put forward, like
Mhm.
um, when we try to understand this fact or reality, the
Mhm.
mercy, it's kind of within us. It's the lock and key principle. I like to look at it that way.
Mhm.
So it's kind of the our key to unlock, it's our urges, impotence. So
Mhm.
the more we feel it, the more everything with respect to generosity and others are unlocked, unpacked. So
Mhm. Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
and yeah, we can give many examples even from ourselves. I guess in another Risale treatise,
Mhm.
talks about this need to sleep, right? If we force
Mhm.
ourselves, the sleep just goes away from us. It's kind of when we pretend to bring something, own something, it just gets out of our hands.
Mhm. Mhm.
And we know it's connected to humility. So the most knowing people, actually, the most humilious ones,
Mhm.
like if you say that I know everything, I am this and that, so the chances of you having the knowledge in a nice flowing way is very low, if
Yeah,
not zero. On the
that's
other
it.
hand, most profound people say that I don't know really
I don't
anything.
know.
It's
Yeah.
kind of, and it's kind of, I'm
Mhm.
trying to
Mhm.
say that we have a lot of examples to say whenever you
Absolutely.
feel the importance or whenever you're closer to the scale of
Mhm.
being weak and impotent,
Mhm.
uh, most things will arrive at you,
Yeah, yeah. As soon as you understand it, as soon as you
and
accept
yeah,
it. Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
way to showcase
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
mercy, generosity of the
Yeah,
Creator.
absolutely. Yeah, thanks a lot, Rajam. And I see one hand. I think like Rajam's got something to say. Please go ahead, Rajam. Because Mojam, if you can help us to listen, Rajam. Yeah.
Sorry. Can
Oh,
can you hear me right now?
yes, 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 we can hear
I'm
you fine.
sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Please
because
go ahead.
I couldn't open the micro.
That's all
Uh,
right. Yeah.
yeah. One of the best method of the Risale-i Nur is to show us or giving example from our own environment. For example, here, the paragraph you underlined here, it says like from the sun to the earth or other smallest creatures, all of the things they perform their jobs. So we see a unit in our environment, and when we talk to even our families or our children or our students, whatever your
Mhm.
duty is, when we give an example, this kind of things from our environment, it really
Mhm.
affects the people and it comes to our mind in a very good way. For example, all the creatures are doing their jobs from the sun
Mhm.
to the moon, even the smallest creatures. Like
Mhm.
here, there is a word which it affects us. It says that all acting on orders. So sometimes our brothers, our families, even our own soul, we say that we do not want to do these kind of things. And
Mhm.
when we give an example from this Risale methods, that even the small creatures, they don't say anything about that. They do their jobs, they do their duties. How can you be
Mhm.
out of this circulation as a human
Mhm.
being? It is not logical. So
Mhm.
we also have to do our jobs to be a good person. So these
Mhm.
are the good methods that we have to learn about our lives.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. Totally agree with you. Yeah, just especially from the yeah, just the examples and everything. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, for the comment. And I see a couple of comments. Maybe yeah, just the one that I see. What are the factors that we do not fulfill? Show impotence and receive again. Merciful Allah, merciful Allah. All right, thank you so much for the comments and chat box. All right, maybe it's time for us to move on and finish maybe the second truth, and then we go back another set of comments and everything from our panelists, inshallah. Let's let us finish the
But
second
I
truth.
think that question is not answered, right?
Wasn't it answered?
What factors we don't fulfill to show our importance to receive and gain?
Oh, oh, I got it. Oh, what are the factors that we do not fulfill or show impotence? I thought, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, I thought that it was just almost kind of
I
answered
think
or
that
something.
that's a great question to Kulun Hocam.
Yeah, Kulnajam, would you like to, yeah, just go ahead and take on this? What are the factors that we do not fulfill or show our impotence to receive and gain great amount of generosity and mercy of Almighty Allah, mercy of Allah?
I think the easiest way of answering that is
Mhm.
you realize as you get slightly older, well, actually, the older you get, right,
Mhm. Mhm.
you realize that if you haven't submitted the names back to Allah yet,
Mhm.
they will be a torture for you when you die.
Mhm.
So if we are Muslim
Mhm.
with a small m, I don't mean just ID card Muslim, a cultural Muslim. If we are Muslim with
Mhm.
a small m, it means all of the names that are reflected on us are there to indicate Him, not to indicate us.
Mhm.
So when I see that I'm able to do something really, really well, it's very tempting to own it.
Mhm.
And I think it's all down to ownership. Why we don't show our impotence is because we don't think we're impotent. We think that, I mean, I can lift quite heavy weights, right? Even now at this advanced stage. But if I don't know, if I sort of delude myself into thinking that I'm doing that, and if I don't see that as a manifestation of my weakness, actually, because I don't know how I can lift. I don't even know how I can lift my arm. Does anyone here know how they lift their arms, how it works, actually? What has to happen? And, they say knowledge is power. You have to know exactly what goes on before you can do something. We don't have that power. And even if we know it in the textbook sense, even if we are told it as information, that is not from us. We have to be told these things. So nothing is innate, nothing is, it belongs to us at all. Now, how can you show your impotence? This is an excellent question from our brother Aslan. How do we show our impotence? By not owning what you appear to possess, which are reflections of the names of Allah, but we think that those reflections are from us and that they're not reflections, they're manifestations, Kuntu kanzan makhfiyan, I was a hidden treasure. This is what Allah says, but unfortunately, that's what we think about ourselves as well. I'm a hidden treasure and I'm going to show myself to the world. That is why we cannot. How do they say in America? They drink the Kool-Aid, right? Um, they don't think, we don't think, and because we are seeing the mirror with the image in it, we fall in love with the image and not the one whose image is in the mirror. So we fall in love with ourselves. We fall in love with our own abilities. We fall in love with our own qualities. We fall in love with our own capabilities. And if we don't surrender them, and that is taslimiyah. Taslimiyah doesn't mean doing your namaz 5 times a day. That's part of it. But the most difficult taslimiyah is to give back the attributes. In other words, acknowledge where they're from. Don't use them for your own sake. Use them only for his sake. Then you give them back. And then when he takes them back, when you die, you won't mind because you've already given them back. They're already gone. But if you hang on to them, they will have to be dragged from you. And this is why there is a famous hadith about the angels who take the souls of the unbelievers. It is like, I can't remember how it's actually described. It's very, very, very painful. It's like hooks and talons made of iron sinking into the skin. But for a believer, when his soul is taken, it's like taking a hair off the top of a plate of yogurt. It's that easy because you've already submitted. Tamam.
I want to add something. If Colin Harvey is done, are you done, Colin Harvey? When you say tamam?
I'm done, completely done.
Okay.
Please
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
Just wanted to add a couple of things and about the questions, and as well as that they continue for Tawheed in this second truth. I will start from myself, for instance, that to answer the questions, for instance, that I cannot even control that my blood pressure. I cannot even control that my heart beats. And everything is in my body, for instance, or internally, that working, there's a great actions that is ongoing without my even single touches. So this is clearly telling me from my side, for instance, kidney is working. We don't know if it's really perfectly working, but it is working. Our heart is working, and we don't know that. And there's some kind of actions we don't have any power, anything that we can even touch. And we are eating, for instance, one food, and then we cannot even tell the phosphorus is going to go to eyes, and that is going to be like this amount or that amount, or potassium is going to go to our brain, or zinc is going to go to our brain. We have no idea. We don't have even single control and not even thinking about it. So this is from my body, for instance, and also think about the deep down the ocean. there is a lot of creatures there, fishes and different creatures. We don't even know, are still discovering. And all of them are just eating. There's food perfectly fine, and that they are nourished and like fed really well. And they have some kind of diseases that they are just still continue that getting healed. And we have no idea and no power, nothing to just even control and help them. This is just two example from like myself, from my body to whole ocean. You can think about the complete cosmos. And in order to that, one of the things that I would say is that that's what I was maybe doing. Maybe that everybody is can be helpful. I don't know, maybe not. But the tefekkür is going to help us that the understanding our impotence or odds. And this is something that when we were thinking about like what's going on in the whole cosmos, what's going on in our body, in brain, thousand different neurons is acting perfectly fine in our brain, although we have no idea how it is acting. We cannot even control that the wrinkles in our face. We're working on that. And then our hair, meaning that Tawheed is just Colin said, this is not our body, or it's just the emanet. This is belongs to this body or the whole cosmos belong to somebody else, but we are inside and we are just doing some job or duty. And this is emanet, that's what we call. But this is basically tefekkür is going to help us a lot, that nothing belongs to us and we are just acting and we need to do our job. And tefekkür is going to be, that's what I want to say, in order to understand our impotence and as well as odds and zaif as well. That's what I wanted to say. I guess this is all I wanted to say right now, and maybe I
Thank you.
answer some of the part of the questions, but yeah.
No, thank you so much, Murajan. Really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. And as I see in the chat box, I guess, yeah, Lion also says, yeah, thank you just for the is there a dilemma? And I think, yeah, Colin Joma answered. So, like, the question is, like, just is there a dilemma between Ahsan Taqweem and impotence, and how can we clarify it? So, Colin Joma answered. That's a great question. I think the misconstrued construed Asana Takwim, the notion of being created on the best pattern goes to our head if we don't understand properly, and that leads to ownership and ananiya. So I guess that hopefully answered Lion's question. Anyone else would like to comment a little more, or should we go back to where we left off? All right, I see none. All right, thank you so much. Great questions and great comments, and really appreciate it for all of them. This is really wonderful. It's just like interaction and just bringing more kind of just comments and questions. I really like it. All right, so like that means like we're reading it and understanding it just so this we're learning. Inshallah. All right, let's continue where Sadwidi Zumasandrisa left off, and then he's gonna continue explaining second truth. And so after all these comments, let's see just what we got. Like it's been a little more, a couple more pages. Since the master of this world then has such absolute generosity, mercy, splendor, and glory, it follows that his infinite splendor and glory require the chastisement of those whose behavior causes offense. Similarly, his infinite generosity requires the giving of bounty, while his infinite mercy calls for the giving of favor. Now, in this brief, transient life, not even a millionth part of God's perfection establishes itself establishes itself and is on display. There must then be a blessed realm elsewhere that is suited to the showing and giving of infinite generosity and mercy. If there is no future realm where the entirety of God's mercy is to be displayed and experienced, any mercy that we see while in this world can no longer be classed as mercy at all. If there were no eternal realm where God's infinite mercy is to be on show, the mercy that He shows now would have to be rejected as something wholly unmerciful. And this clearly would be like pointing to the sun at midday and denying its existence. For if there were no eternal realm after this, death, which is inescapable, would turn that mercy into disaster, that love into affliction, that blessing into vengeance, human intellect into an instrument of torture, and pleasure into pain. In the absence of an eternal realm, the very essence of God's compassion would disappear. Furthermore, there must also be a realm of punishment befitting God's glory and his dignity. For generally, oppressors leave this earthly realm while still in possession of their power, and the oppressed depart while still suffering humiliation. These cases, the case of the unpunished oppressor and the unavenged victim, are deferred for consideration by a supreme tribunal in the future. They are not ignored. Of course, it does sometimes happen that punishment is meted out in this world. The torments suffered by disobedient and rebellious peoples in the past show that humans are not left to their own devices. Indeed, they are always subject to the blows that God's splendor and majesty may choose to visit on them. Out of all the creatures in the cosmos, humankind has the most important responsibility, namely to recognize God and to worship Him as a result. And it is for this reason that humans have been endowed with the most important capacities and capabilities. As humankind's sustainer, God makes himself known to them through all of his well-ordered works. He makes himself loved through the countless beautifully decorated fruits of his mercy, and he demonstrates his love and mercy through the endless variety of bounties that he showers on all human beings. Now, if humans fail to recognize God and worship Him in return, and if they fail to make themselves beloved of God through their worship, or fail to respect Him with thanks and with praise, is it at all possible that they should be left to their own devices and go unpunished? Is it at all likely that God, in his splendor and glory, would fail to prepare for the unbelievers among humankind a realm of chastisement and requital? Similarly, is it at all possible that he would not prepare a realm of reward and everlasting bliss for those believers who do respond when the merciful and compassionate Creator makes himself known to them? Is it all likely that he would ignore their faith and worship or fail to recognize their thanks and their veneration? Now, these are great, great questions and parts, and how beautifully Ustad Jamal just now explains and goes in detail again and again, further like giving us more and more examples and more thinking, and just basically dragging us to think and contemplate like a little more, a little further, bringing us like this more examples and more maybe analogies, and just like for us to understand better, and for especially the second part of the second truth. Now I'd like to go back again, like the similar kind of like in order to Harnojam. So what do you think about this second part and his approach and his explanations and more examples, Harnojam?
Oh yeah, that's amazing, as you say.
Mhm.
Yeah, the first thing that strikes me is, here the focus is on the source, like
Mhm.
the source is the hereafter, or how to
Mhm.
say the source, maybe I shouldn't say that. The source is, reflections of the beautiful names of the
Of course,
Creator.
yeah. Attributes, yeah.
So yeah, I'm saying the source is hereafter in the
Mhm.
sense that,
Mhm. Mhm.
maybe the ultimate destination or the
Right.
ultimate make sense source of
Mhm.
everything is hereafter. Like
Mhm.
if there's not that source, that
Mhm.
nothing will make sense at
Of
all.
course,
Like
yeah.
because for this mercifulness, if it is not eternal, everlasting, then it's not mercy at all, by definition. Because
Mhm.
again, the key unlock principle within me, I need to exist. The most of my needs is existence. So if I don't exist eternally, it's a total punishment, and we can
Mhm.
understand the modern condition, Um, today we are living in a society with, deprived of meaning, in any
Mhm.
sense.
Mhm. Mhm.
So if there's no meaning, you understand, you kill yourself, you just
Mhm.
um, you see there are a lot of rates of killing themselves, we know.
Mhm.
And actually, this is what happens losing the meaning. And the source of meaning is actually as location is hereafter. Like if
Mhm.
there's hereafter, then what I see as mercy here makes really sense because then I perceive my surrounding environment and myself as I'm in a training place again. I'm in a showcase place, so this is a temporary place, and I see, the bare reflections of these meanings that
Mhm.
comes as a source from beautiful names of Allah, including
Mhm.
Kareem and Rahman Rahim. Here we are talking.
Mhm.
So then, yeah, everything is in place, and I understand everything makes sense.
Mhm. Awesome, awesome, great comment, Harmjo. Now, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now, if I understood correctly, so like now Harmujam is just now making us like just rethink just like how sensible this explanations are, and just looking at the names and attributes of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala just in this world, and of course in comparing and the logic. And now I'm kind of curious of what Konlajam has got to say like to this. Yeah,
Arun's really said it all.
yeah.
And I think, what he is, I think, getting at there is what Ustad does in the next truth, which he
Hmm.
looks at wisdom and justice.
Hmm.
Because mercy and generosity, if they're not given, then
Hmm.
that is unjust. And a creator who does not give when he's able to give, and is not merciful when he is able to be merciful, then
Hmm.
is unjust. It's
Unstable connection.
who's inside the womb. Um, then if it dies before it's born, and if every baby were to die before it were to be born, then I mean, why create legs and arms, and why create a respiratory system? To our intuitive intellect, because innately we all love justice. See what's happening in the world today? Even the most unjust people call themselves just because we love justice so much. That is innate. It doesn't need to be proven. So if there is a creator who is merciful and generous, um, then if he's not just, he can't be merciful and generous. If he's merciful and generous, then he's just. So they all go together, really. And we understand that innately. It's not something that you need to intellectualize on the rational sense. It's intuitive because it's built into us.
Great explanations and just like how just like logic and rational and everything like works, and especially just now just you again like it's been underlined the word like the keyword the intuition, so like it's been that we need, and of course I mean just that also need to be somehow like discussed and exchanged like this and reminded for all of us and to see and what they help, and these are great maybe just
There is
opportunities
another
for
aspect actually that
please
came
yeah.
to my mind, which is the balance,
Hmm.
balance in understanding things. Since this
Hmm.
is mercy, we also it's modern condition that we exaggerate on any
Hmm.
aspect, right? Like
Yeah.
mercy, we see
Hmm.
that someone is punished, and we say that, hey, look at it, it is not merciful. Look at that. They're just
Yeah.
punishing this guy, something like that.
Yeah.
But when we talk about mercy, definitely the somewhat opposite side of it should be thought as well. Like here we're talking
Hmm.
about the glory, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
the Izzah should be there, or Jalil side of
Hmm.
of it should be there because for me to feel mercy, I need to make sure that myself and all the creation I love, including family, beloved, close ones, they should be taken care of. And, here, justice should be in place that they are shown mercy as well. Like if they're treated unjustly, then I feel that, it's not merciful on me, on my feelings, because I see my loved ones are not treated justly. So I feel kind of sorry. So that's a torture for me. So that's a
Right.
violation of mercifulness. So it is really complicated, and I think the balance factor requires different names acting together, and they should be in harmony. And for us as people also, it's kind of nice lesson that, we should balance our judgments,
Absolutely.
in a
Yeah.
way to see that, how Allah's mercy is reflected, although there are some points or some scenes that I cannot understand with my reasoning that matches mercy.
Awesome. Yeah. Great comment on Joe.
I think
Absolutely.
can I
Yeah.
just say, I think that's a really
Please. Yes,
important
sir.
point,
Hmm.
because again, it's justice, isn't it? Because
Hmm.
if you are too merciful, you become unjust. If you are not
Hmm.
merciful enough, you become unjust.
Unjust. Yeah.
There's a saying in English, to kill with kindness.
Hmm.
You can kill people with kindness.
Hmm.
If you are overindulgent towards a child, the child says, I want candy.
Hmm.
Did I say candy?
Yeah.
I mean chocolate.
Hmm.
If I want,
We know you like chocolates, yes.
but I said candy for our American-based
Yeah.
friends.
American based
Uh,
candy
you know,
bar. Yeah.
yeah, give me candy, give me chocolate, give me this, give me that, and the
Yeah.
mother or the father even continuously indulges the child out
Hmm.
of their sense of kindness and mercy. Then it becomes injustice.
Hmm.
And so an excess, it goes down to ifrat and tafrit, which is, I think, what Harun is
Hmm.
saying. And it's a
Right,
very
right.
Hmm.
difficult balance. It's really difficult. I
Hmm.
mean, we have the three quwwa, quwwa qadabiyya, quwwa shahwiyya, quwwa aqliyya. But
Hmm.
then we have hundreds of subtle faculties,
Oh, yeah.
and those need to be also in balance
Hmm.
somehow. So
Yeah.
it's not easy, Jannat is not cheap.
Yeah.
So these are
Okay.
not
Absolutely.
easy.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
These are not
Indeed.
easy things.
You're
So
here. You're
to
here.
be
Yeah.
just, I think that is what Harun is getting at there. There has
Hmm.
to be justice or mizan,
Hmm.
equilibrium.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it's very easy to tip the balance in either, ifrat or tafrit. Anyway, I spoke too much.
Hmm.
Let's
Yeah.
see a
Yeah.
hikmet.
Yeah. Yeah. So certainly. You can do. Yeah. What would you
No,
like to say?
I don't have anything. That there are great explanation examples from both of these. Yeah,
Isn't it?
that's
Yeah.
good. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. They just gave me the idea. I guess now again and again we're going like this, been repeating, and just which actually just now reminded me the repetition is the key, right? Just like now because that's like well, that's why like we pray every day. That's why like we pray like it's been and repeat yeah, the Surah Al-Fatiha, like an exact over and over, Surat al-Mustaqim, Surat al-Mustaqim. I guess that's going back to like this that Harno Jams and Kono Jams, like in the point, the balancing it, not to go to the extremes and just again and again, again and again, balance in every single aspect of our life. And inshallah, so like asking for it, Surat al-Mustaqim, send us to the right way, just in balance, right? And I see one hand, Kadir Jam, before I forget, go ahead. Is the microphone not working? Or oh yeah.
Yes, I think, yeah, we cannot open our own micro,
Yeah, I
therefore
see.
I'm
Yeah.
waiting
Right.
permission.
Please
Uh,
go ahead. Yeah.
when Colin Ojam told us about that, it also came to my mind the understanding the divine name of in this world. We also need to believe hereafter. Therefore, most of the examples are coming from to understand the hereafter, believing akhirah too. For example, we cannot understand the generosity of Allah. Maybe
Hmm.
sometimes we cannot understand in this world, and we know that Allah will gives us the infinite bounty in Jannah too, or
Hmm.
some other names, for example, for the justice or for the mercy. When we look at our environment, we see that they 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 require a punishment, and some of the people are they don't have this punishment in this world too. So in this paragraph, I understand that understanding these divine names also requires to believe in akhirah, hereafter, to make it better, to understand it better too. For example, we say that he's a very generous man even for the people, but to understand the sign of being a generous is to give someone, for example, my cousin is a very generous man, but how, if he doesn't invite me to any restaurant or something like that, how can I understand he's a generous man? It's a kind of example. So when we understand the divine name, we also think about hereafter too. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, great comment. Thanks a lot, Pedro. All right. So, one, I see that we got like a couple more minutes left, and anyone else would like to say just maybe last comments or words or something about this week, about this second truth before we give an end? All right. Oh, Aluja, go ahead, please.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Yes, sir.
From this truth, we are reading together now, and from other truths of the 10th word, we can remember together that proofs, evidences of the existence of Almighty Allah are all at the same time the evidences of the existence of the hereafter. Yes, I'd like to share this reality only. Yes. On one aspect, every creature looks to the manifestations of the names of Almighty Allah. In another aspect, the same thing looks to the hereafter. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Aluja. Yeah, appreciate it. All right. So I guess now that concludes our weekly discussion, and inshallah, we completed this second truth. And inshallah, and hopefully, we're going to continue from the third truth, I guess, inshallah, next week. But until then, I would like to thank again, like before I forget, to our panelists this week, Kul Najam, Har Najam, and Hikmat Najam. Thanks a lot for being with us this week. And of course, I'm just, Kadir Najam and Ali Najam, like Risman, for their comments as well. And inshallah, looking forward to seeing you next week. And before I forget, I was gonna invite Jazmujam or Alujam since you're here, so maybe we can recite some Quran and inshallah make dua and conclude this week's discussion.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربنا إننا سمعنا مناديا ينادي للإيمان أن آمنوا بربكم فآمنا ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسلك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد صدق الله العظيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا إنك جامع الناس ليوم لا ريب فيه إن الله لا يخلف الميعاد ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا وتقبل دعاء ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب اللهم لا تخرجنا من الدنيا إلا مع الشهادة والإيمان ربنا آمنا بما أنزلت واتبعنا الرسول فاكتبنا مع الشاهدين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد لله تعالى الفاتحة
Thank you so much, Alujam. Thanks a lot again for all panelists and just participants.
Thanks to you as well, Nazif. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And can you please make Harun come again next week?
Yes, I will. Inshallah.